We've been in the field of ABA a long time, but let's review the basics. What does a BCBA do?
Hi, I'm Shira.
And I'm Shayna.
We're behavior analysts that create weekly content about how to teach kids with autism so that they make real progress. And we create shareable resources to make your job just a little bit easier.
Today's topic is all about what we do as BCBAs. And if you want more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on new video releases. So, personal story, when I first got into the field of ABA, my mother thought that I babysat kids with autism. That's just what she told her friends and family, etc. I've always been told that I need a good elevator pitch. Has anybody else heard that before? That, if someone asks you, what do you do? An elevator pitch would be something like a 30-second synopsis that you would tell somebody in an elevator before they got out on the third floor. So as BCBAs, what's our elevator pitch?
I still hate that question because whenever anybody says, like, what do you do? I'm like, okay, you want the long version or the short version? And I know you're not going to understand the short version. So, like, do I just say behavior analyst and move on? So it's tough. I still think my family doesn't know what I do for a living.
So there's lots and lots of things that we do as behavior analysts. And I think that's why it's really, really tough to come up with a 30-second elevator pitch. So let's analyze all those things that we do. I typically start with, behavior analyst implies that we work with kids with behavior issues. And that's not true. As we all know, behavior is positive behavior and negative behavior. So, as BCBAs, we should be doing, skill acquisition as well as behavior reduction.
Yeah, and I kind of explain it as like it's an extension of behavioral psychology, where we look at how the environment affects behavior and how we can change elements of the environment to change behavior, either increase behaviors we want to see more of or decrease behaviors we want to see less of. And then I usually say it's most commonly applied to kids with autism because, ABA has been proven to be very effective.
So, as behavior analysts, if we're looking at skill acquisition and teaching skill acquisition, as well as decreasing problem behavior, the first thing we really need to do is assessment, right? So that assessment could be something like a functional assessment or a functional analysis. But for skill acquisition programs, as we all know, we can do lots of different assessments. It can be like a psychological assessment, or it can be something like a VB-MAP or an ABLS or a PEAK. There's the AFLs there that could go on and on and on.
And the thing that we really base a lot of our decisions on is data. We're constantly recording data. So an assessment is one form of data. Ongoing data is another form of data to help us make decisions. Is this behavior increasing or decreasing? Even things like in a school, is the student understanding the knowledge and define understanding? Well, what's the data? How they do on the test, or what's their performance like? So we're constantly looking at data, and we're using that data to make decisions for the future. And we also use things that are evidence-based. So we're putting in interventions and assessments and programs that all have a background in journals and in evidence that have been proven to be effective.
So, like I said, when we're starting these programs, we start off with assessments because we want a baseline of what skills are. And then from there, we, determine the goals that we want. And, by determining those goals, yes, we're looking at data, we're looking at the assessments and saying, what do we need to teach these people? But also we talk to caregivers and talk to them about what their goals are. And, with that comes a whole myriad of skills that we actually need that are outside of data collection. And that's things like compassionate care. How do we talk to parents? Stay tuned for the next blog. But how do we talk to parents? How do we, get that? And then how do we implement those programs? So, step one is assessment. Step two is talking to caregivers about their goals, or vice versa, analyzing that data and determining goals, and then starting to implement goals. But before we implement those goals, we have to set up programming around those goals. And what does that look like?
And something that I always think of is no one's going to learn from someone that they don't like. So when our big goal is teaching, right? It's teaching skills to kids. It's teaching caregivers and parents and teachers. And we're asking them to change a lot of the things that they do to be able to change behavior. And so something that we have to include in our repertoire as BCBAs is, that management and that coaching, and almost like we have to be, the social worker and the therapist and the BCBA and the friend to be able to work with all these different people. It's managing staff, it's hiring staff, it's working with parents and professionals and collaborating with other professionals. And that's a skill set that we may not always be prepared for, but it's something that we should continue to work on as BCBAs, because that's really the only way we're going to be effective.
So, looking at that, we have to pair ourselves with reinforcement, not only with the, people we're working with, but also with parents who essentially we're working with as well, and with staff and with other professionals, making sure that we have a great relationship with those people, implementing those programs, training, coaching people on those programs. This is what the program looks like. This is how you take data. This is how you can, look at changing the behavior by increasing motivation for that, et cetera. And then we're constantly they're taking data, but we're constantly analyzing that data. It's not enough just to take data and have it sit in a binder somewhere. We want to be analyzing that data. And when we're analyzing that data, we're also analyzing the teaching behind the data. And we're analyzing any kind of error patterns that we see. We're analyzing motivation. We're analyzing so much. And then with that, that overview, I guess you could say, is that, we take that information so that we can better update programs and make progress.
And one of the things that I love about what we do is this concept of social significance. We are putting things in place that are going to be significant and change the individual's life. And so that means that very often we'll be going into the individual setting. So we're going into schools, we're going into homes, and that's very different than other professionals who might say, oh, you're struggling with something, so come to me, come to my office, or come see me. And we have a very different approach. We want to go and see where that issue is happening so that we can make changes that are going to be socially significant for the individual.
So, when we're going into other people's homes, again, there's that compassionate care. We need to be respectful of those other environments and making sure that we can adapt our behavior to those environments so that we can be respected, and not only respected, but listened to. And, our ideas can be implemented in those environments, so that we're continuing constantly to coach therapists, teachers, parents, et cetera, because, we're showing them, here's what you can do. We've had that relationship, we've paired ourselves, et cetera. In addition to all of that, we're still doing those skill acquisition programs, but some of us are also supervising other therapists and other future BCBAs. So click on the link in around this video to get your free skills assessment for a BCBA checklist.
And for more information on what a BCBA does, visit howtoaba.com to claim your free download of a skills assessment for a BCBA checklist. We also encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, and leave a like or comment below if you have further questions.